When talking business in Asia, you often think of the banking and finance industry. Well, it's also a hub for entrepreneurs trying to tap into the drive for innovation and technology. Well, Tony Boatman is a country boy from rural Victoria who left the corporate world to carve out his own path as a serial entrepreneur. With 3 startups under his belt, he's now creating a fresh approach to doing business.
Go, boy. Fire. I mean, ultimately, I guess it's about being happy, and for me, being happy is having time and spending time with my kids.
Like most working parents, Tony Boatman would like to spend more time away from the office and with his family. He grew up on a sheep farm in Australia with 2 brothers, and after 17 years in Asia, he still misses the freedom and one day hopes to return to living on the land.
I'd like to be off the grid, so I'm in the technology space, but ultimately moving away from technology and growing things, growing some vegetables, getting back to my farming roots and, relaxing. Never retire, of course. I mean, there's too much stuff out there to do, but yeah, just sort of being happy.
They're words you wouldn't expect to hear from a man who spent the majority of his career with 2 of the world's top consumer brands, Nokia and Microsoft. These days he lives in Singapore and calls himself a recovering corporate marketing executive. He's now carved out his own career path, leveraging technology and innovation to redefine the notion of a job.
Well, I love the concept of time. I mean, to go back, I never had much of it. Working at Microsoft, I felt I was busy the whole time. I mean, the calendar was always full, there was travel. My friends would tell you now that I was very difficult to speak to for 3 years. I mean, I was always busy. And it was only when I left Microsoft that I actually thought, gosh, a lot of that time that I was spending was redundant. It was meetings and it was conference calls and it was sitting on aeroplanes. So my idea was that create a business that creates this notion of having spare time.
Tony Boatman uses his previous experience in marketing and business development to help create his own mobile apps and online platforms. But his technology is built with a social conscience for those in the corporate world.
I'm in the software business, and it's really for me about creating a product or a service that someone finds interesting and useful and makes a difference in their life. And if you do that and you follow this software as a service sort of business model, it gives you the ability to make money while you're not working per se, so it creates time and enables me to do all these sort of crazy things that I'm doing.
This is one of his most recent and successful software startups. The company is called Peer-to-Peer Systems. Using the tools of social media technology and mobile applications, it brings informal, interactive, immediate and visible to all recognition to employees. Its goal is to stimulate positivity in the workplace.
We've actually just launched one in New York, but deploying it inside companies like Toll, Logistics, Unilever, Procter & Gamble.
And it's basically, it's got a social front. Why did you create this? Do you think there needs to be more of this?
Yeah, I do. I mean, in corporate life, you're more likely to get a kick in the bum than a pat on the back. I mean, if you do something wrong, everyone knows about it. But with recognition, if you do something right, there's only a few people that know about it. So the idea was that to make a pat on the back or recognition visible, so elevate it to a social media, Twitter-like platform, give it context, and what I mean by that is connect it to the company's strategic goals.
His other software startups also have a social conscience, focusing on responsible business. He's twice been named a Global 100 Sustainability Leader by the influential ABC Carbon Journal. With that in mind, he's created this software tool, the Indela.com, which quantifies sustainability in project design and helps identify a way where profit and the environment work together.
So my idea was that build a model that enables large organisations to do a sort of what-if analysis. If they're building a shopping centre, for example, we did some work with Lend-Lease. What are the choices that you can make? What's the cost and what are the benefits of those choices over the life cycle of the particular development? Right, coffee time.
Every entrepreneur looks for inspiration. Tony Boatman finds his in coffee beans. His most recent startup is this, the Bicycle Barista. The plan is to build 1,000 in the next 12 months and launch it as a profit-for-purpose franchise with a global footprint, providing microfinance and support in all aspects of running a small artisan coffee business.
We're actually sourcing rickshaws from Denmark, of all places, these stunning looking trishaw, rickshaw bicycles. And on top of that, we're building a platform and mounting these espresso machines. And the idea is that it will be a social enterprise, so that the mission essentially is to give young people or older people an opportunity to start a small business, run a small business, and learn what it takes to be successful as an entrepreneur.
Singapore is fast becoming a regional hub for technology and innovation startups. Young and Rubicam is one of the world's largest consumer advertising agencies. It runs its own incubation program called Sparkplug, sponsoring and developing smart minds and setting them up with a global network. Tony Boatman is their entrepreneur in residence.
So Sparkplug's a global program. It started in New York. The idea is to bring people who've got technology, innovation and entrepreneurialism inside the agency. So much change in today's marketplace that not all companies can keep up with that. By bringing entrepreneurs inside our agency, we can hopefully bring that type of energy into our company so we can bring that benefit to our clients.
For Tony Boatman, it's been a rewarding career path for a former corporate with a social conscience. But this serial entrepreneur is the first to ward off those looking for a fast buck. Instead, he has this career advice: strive to innovate, differentiate your product and stay honest.
And in Asia, relationships are very important. So having trusting relationships with your staff, with your partners, your suppliers, that's really the foundation to it. And when I said before, it's not complicated. It's not. You have an idea, you get good people on board, and you're honest and you do your best. And if you work hard, you're probably going to have success.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.